time of the week again.
Yep.
We are here, the Puck Buddy Podcast.
We are.
With your hosts once again. We got Eddie Murad here.
Dreaming.
We got Cam chiming in from somewhere across the world.
What's up, guys?
And myself, Bo Hendrickson, here as well. Once again, we are the Puck Buddy Podcast, here to provide you with the most expert fantasy hockey advice you can get nowadays.
Yep, the most expert at a bargain.
Yeah, at a solid price too, for free $99.
Yeah, exactly.
Get your hands on this deal.
Like $399 per episode.
Exactly. We aren't that cheap. No, but really, we're your free fantasy hockey podcast. Here to provide you with some great fantasy insight to, hopefully win you a fantasy championship. That's the goal as always.
You know what's not going to win you a fantasy championship?
What's that?
Having your best player go out in the sixth week of the season.
Oh yeah, that's not going to help at all, especially if you're spending a first rounder on these next couple of guys. So.
Oh yeah, we've had some crazy injuries this week. I don't know if you've heard, but we got one big one is Johnny Gaudreau. He is pretty much carrying the Flames to nowhere at this point. They haven't been doing very well, but he's been their star player. And
opposite of Moses.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. He was like parting the little waves, not the whole sea.
The kiddie pool.
The kiddie pool, exactly.
He was parting the kiddie pool.
He was, but he got a broken finger versus the Coyotes. This week on November 16th, and apparently he got slashed around 11 times that game, and the coach was just getting so angry and was yelling at the refs, but how are you going to stop Johnny Gaudreau? But you just got to slash him and hack him, you know? He's a little guy, and that's the only way to stop such a speedster.
And it obviously worked.
Obviously it worked. They weren't too happy, but...
Well, you can either do that or you could actually play hockey. But, I know the second option is not as glamorous as the first one.
Especially not for the Coyotes.
Yeah.
They're not going to do
that.
that.
That's true.
But that's a huge blow to the team.
They have Shane don't know how to skate, so they're captain, right?
Yeah. I wonder if he was the one slashing. He had all 11 slashes.
That would be a great stat to have. How many slashes?
Added to the fantasy hockey stats.
Yeah, we'll add it in there. That's just an extra point you can earn.
For Shane Doan, though, and I'll pick him up.
Drafting all Arizona players next year.
Guaranteed victory. All right, who's our next injury, Eddie?
Our next one is the big Steven Stammer. He's out with same knee, but he has a torn meniscus. This is a big blow to lose the captain for the Lightning. But he already had a successful knee surgery that took place on Thursday, and he's already projected to be out 4 to 6 months. And he may return near the end of the season, and especially if they make playoffs, he'll be back for that. But I think we can expect them to continue doing well. We'll be talking about them more later in the podcast. They have a lot of depth on that team, but it's something where you're going to want to see who Kucherov is playing with and just pick up whoever's on his line because they're going to want him and his line mates to produce.
That's they did it before without Stamkos last year. They'll be fine again this year.
They've been through this before. They know what to expect, and it's not going to shake them up, I don't think. So, but next on the list, we got TJ Oshie. TJ Yoshi suffered a concussion recently, and he's going to be out a couple of weeks. Not day to day, he's week to week. And that really sucks because he was doing so well before he got taken out. He had a couple multi-point games. I think he had like 4 points in one game. He was pretty ridiculous, but he'll be updated later in the week or early next week on his status, so just keep an eye on him. And the other big injury that I want to mention is Taylor Hall, and this is probably the injury that I think will affect the team the most, apart from Gaudreau. But it's more so because the Devils have been doing so well, whereas the Flames have not been doing so well.
One team's been winning, one has not.
Exactly. Taylor Hall has been incredible for the Devils. He's been everything they had hoped for, and now he has a lower body injury and will be out 4 to 6 weeks. So very similar to the Stamkos injury, he has lateral meniscus damage, but it's not a clean tear like Stamkos, so he won't be out as long. He underwent successful arthroscopic knee surgery on November 16th, so it's looking okay. It's a big hit to your team, and it's a big hit to the Devils, but hopefully he'll be back soon.
Yeah, they'll definitely test that home record they have going on right now.
Yeah, 6-0 at home. So then they're going to be tested this week because they have a couple home games. So, and we'll talk about that more later as well. But a couple minor injuries. I'll have Bo go through them with you guys.
Yeah, since we got the big ones out of the way, we're gonna just kind of blow through these next couple of ones. One major injury in terms of length of out for injury is Mika Zibanejad. He broke his fibula against Florida and is expected to be out 6 to 8 weeks. So they're not expecting him until after New Year's, maybe early January. So you expect him to be out for a while, possibly throw him on your IR if you want to hold him.
That's Zibanejad sad.
Yeah, it's very Zibanejad.
Oh man,
it won't be a Merry Christmas for him. So let's move on to some other names. Not as lengthy of an injury, but David Pasternak's been out for a while with an undisclosed injury, considered day to day. Chris Kunitz, he actually just got put on the IR, and he's week to week right now with the lower body injury.
Yeah, that was surprising.
So that'll be tough for a Penguins team that will still be strong without him. Johnny Oduya, defenseman for Dallas Stars, has just been placed on the IR with the lower body injury. Tyler Ennis, as we mentioned before, has been out, and he's officially been put on IR with a groin injury. No expected return. Gabriel Landeskog is day to day. A bigger one, Darren Helm for the Detroit Red Wings, recently put on the IR with a dislocated shoulder.
Yeah.
Expected out 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That's a painful one.
Yeah. He just signed a big contract, so that hurts, Detroit a little bit. Then who else do we got up next, Eddie?
We also have Cam called this one. Pavel Brisnevich out with back spasms. Oh my God, you totally called me out on that one. So I apologize to anyone I may have told to pick that guy up because he is now out. So thanks, Cam. Let us into your crystal ball a little more once in a while, would you?
Yeah.
Okay, how about this? The Sharks are going to suck this week. Next injury, Bobby Ryan, broken finger. Mike Hoffman, undisclosed, day to day. Dennis Seidenberg on injured reserve with a broken jaw. That sucks.
Yeah.
He's out indefinitely. We got Anton Strawman out on the 13th. He's still day to day with upper body injury. We got Alex Steen. Ever since the 17th, he's been day to day, and I think it's probably going to be week to week. As is Hurdle.
Hurdle's is bad.
He got an MRI, and we have not announced if he needs surgery yet, but he's most likely week to week.
I think today they announced he needs surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, today they announced he needs surgery, and he just got put on the IR.
Oh, did he? This
yeah.
morning? Okay, well then, Hurdle will be out for, it's going to be 6 to 8 weeks then.
Yeah.
At the very earliest. Okay, well, great. Hurdle's out. I know he has probably been dropped now. If you have an injured reserve spot and you're willing to wait for a couple months, Hurdle might not be a bad pickup for our center position. And then we got Patrick Hornquist, concussion stuff. He and Crosby kind of share that in their mental weakness. But yeah, just keep an eye on who's going to move up to play with Crosby on that top line because Crosby has been killing it.
Oh my God, he's been incredible, just nonstop.
Whole another level.
I wonder who has him on their team.
Whoever does, they should totally drop him and give him to me. But
oh yeah,
I think so. I'm just trying to help, just trying to give the best advice I can.
Yeah, because if I don't let him go, he may get another concussion. I don't know.
Exactly. I'm just trying to save you the pain. But thanks, Cam. That was all of our injuries this week. There's been a lot, and this week had just some detrimental injuries, some huge ones. So, but we're gonna get off that negative stride, and we're gonna go into one of my favorite segments, the Beauts and the Benders.
Ooh, yeah.
So we'll start with our Beauts.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful. It's true.
You're so pretty.
All right. So I guess I'll start it off with the Beauts. First one up, we got Backstrom. Nicholas Backstrom has been
back again. Backstrom's back. Tell Ovi.
Tell Ovi. Thank you, Bo.
You are
the Slim Bo. Killing it.
Not so Slimbo.
Not so Slimbo. All right, Backstrom has been doing really well this week. He has 8 points, 4 goals, 4 assists with +3 rating, 3 power play points, 12 shots, and 8 hits.
That's a lot of good stats.
He's been one of the most prolific on the Capitals, and it's really helped them get to a 2-2 record. Doesn't sound like much, but they had been slumping a little recently. They had not been finding their scoring touch, so it's good to see them get some wins and actually compete in some games, along with a killer win against the Penguins where they won 7-1.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. He's actually the number 1 fantasy player this week.
Right, and he was on the top line recently. He just got put on the second line, so you got to keep track of him. I'm sure he's going to be fine. They wanted him to get going so he can help a lot of the depth players. So keep an eye on him. I think he's going to continue playing really hot, and they have Columbus coming up, St. Louis, and Toronto. So expect good things from him.
All right, up next we got Nikita Kucherov. He's still on a tear. He's been, without Stamkos there, they're heavily leaning on him. And he's just been, carrying the team right there. That's what they need him to do.
He's been doing his deadlifts.
Yes.
Getting some great back exercises in because he's just carrying everyone.
But, so, he's going to expect him to continue this. With Stamkos out, like I said, there's no need to worry about how he's going to perform because they need him to perform. So he's one of our Beauts of the week, and you'll probably see him here, throughout the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, he'll frequent the Beauts section.
He is quite a Beaut.
He is.
All right, another guy we're gonna mention in our Beauts, JVR, James Van Riemsdyk of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He had himself a game against the Nashville Predators this week and got a hat trick.
Yeah, he did.
Woof.
Yeah. So he is currently on a line with Tyler Bozak and the new up-and-coming rookie Mitchell Marner. And they have been one of the better lines this week in the NHL, getting the Leafs to a positive above 500 record, which is pretty impressive. I don't know if we really expected that at this point in the season or at any point in the season.
Yeah.
But that record right there is attributed to that line. So the Leafs are stepping up because of JVR.
Yeah, if they're playing at home,
and they
play that line. They've been
they're amazing. So NAD. I think you were just about to say that they have some tough matchups coming up against Montreal, New Jersey, and Washington. Sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's totally fine.
But I do believe that this JVR line will step it up. They've been playing very well, so I'm not too worried about their matchups this week. Another player, if you guys don't mind me jumping into the Shea Webbs over here.
No,
he's
go through the cobwebs.
Yeah, just gonna go real quick. There's not much to say besides Shea Weber continues to be impressive. He leads all defensemen in goals and points. This week he had 1 goal, 2 assists, 2 power play points, 10 shots on goal, and 15 hits. So if you drafted Shea Weber, let me have him. Okay, let's talk about Markov. The player
defenseman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super hot right now. He has 4 assists this week with also a goal, a power play point, 5 shots, and 6 hits. Bo has been on the Markov train for a while. He keeps talking about him, so if you haven't figured it out yet, Markov is very, very good. So you might want to, pick him up if he's not picked up in your league. As Bo says.
Do it.
Saying that Bo says.
As Bo says, the thing that Bo says.
But he says it.
I don't know what he's saying, but he's saying something.
They're always saying something. Just trying to figure out what it is.
All right, well, I got something else to say about this next guy, Aaron Ekblad. He's finally showing up for the Florida Panthers.
He's been so bland lately.
Yeah, he's been very bland, but now he's not bland at all.
Not recently.
Firing up those taste buds. But yeah, he's currently he's been getting 3 goals, has 9 shots and 10 hits in the past 4 games. So he's starting to throw it a lot on net, and it's starting to go in. I know he's one of the top shooting defensemen in the league right now, so it's good to see that the puck's finally finding its way past the tenders. But because of the way he's been playing, the Panthers have won 2 of their last 3 games this week, which is pretty good. Unfortunately, he still only has 0 assists, but I mean, I'll take goals any day I can get goals.
Yeah.
So a lot of other players will get you assists. So goals for a defenseman is always good. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Ekblad's been performing pretty well at this point in the season. So let's move into a couple of the beauty of the goaltenders we have. The first one I'm going to mention, Andrei Vasilevsky.
If you've listened to our podcast, you've heard this name a lot.
You have, and if you still haven't picked him up, you better pick him up now, because he has just posted 2 back-to-back shutouts.
Did it.
Check that off your list.
Mm-hmm.
2 back-to-back.
Now shutouts are things that he allows a lot of goals, right? He allowed a lot of goals. That's what a shutout means? Or does it mean that he let no pucks by him? Because
I think I'm going to have to go with the latter.
Wow, okay, so just to let everyone know, a shutout means he didn't let any pucks into the net. So you may want to pick him up. Yeah, you may want to grab him. You may want to grab him.
I thought he was shutting out his teammates. Like,
that's what. Yeah, see,
he was just emotionally unsettled with a lot of things going on. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he went through a big breakup. He was emotionally shutting them out.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was an emotional thing.
Yeah,
okay,
me too. But no.
Yeah, 2 shutouts in his 2 starts last week. Okay, whatever. We should probably pick this guy up.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Everyone knows this guy, Braden Holtby. He's been killing it as well here in 2 wins this week with a .5 goals against average and a .980 save percentage. And this is the Vezina winner we all know and love, and I think you can expect more. He's got plus matchups this week against Columbus, Buffalo, and Toronto, so I think Holtby is going to be seeing some good starts this week, some quality starts, so you can, play him with confidence. You obviously drafted him that way, but it's nice to see him performing. Someone that hasn't been performing well in the past, but has been killing it this season is Tuukka Rask. Tuukka. If you've been playing Tuukka, he put up 2 wins this week and a .67 goals against average and a .968 save percentage. Just give you perspective, those numbers made him the 3rd goalie of the week, and that's ridiculous. That's insane. That's insane. Vasilevsky put up 2 shutouts, so I can see why. But he's been crazy good. His only blemish coming off a 1-0 loss to the Wild, in which the Bruins could just not score. So even in that game, in that game he even played incredible. So, and as a result of his great play, the Bruins are now 3rd in the Atlantic. So
I don't think many expected Rask to perform.
Who saw that coming in from their start?
No, totally. You didn't draft him that high, so
he's definitely paying dividends now.
Yeah, definitely.
So I know Eddie already mentioned that there was that Tuukka Rask was the 3rd goaltender of the week, and Vasilevsky was the first one. But another guy we're going to get into a little later, the 2nd goalie of the week, is Cam Ward. So
good job, Cam.
Yeah, Cam's been suiting up.
Thank you.
In for the Carolina Hurricanes. But yeah, Cam will kind of talk more about himself later. So we'll get into that.
Definitely. Well, there was a time for the transition, boys.
Yes, let's move on.
Yeah, the more beauties you see in life, you're going to see just as equal benders, some uglies, some fuglies, so...
Do the bender. No, thank you. I said do it.
Everyone's beautiful in their own right, except for the people we're about to mention. So,
yes.
Let's get started on these benders. Do you guys mind if I take this first one, just because...
Go for it.
It really pains me.
It pains me
too.
About
this guy.
It hurts me in many places.
Yeah.
Bo shouldn't be pained because he called this, but
we did. However, it still makes me a little bit sad. Evgeny Kuznetsov, 0 points this week, and a -1 rating. They are really not turning around for Kuznetsov. I know that we kind of argued about this last week in our shootout. We're hoping that Kuznetsov will turn it around. He has not. Barry Trotz decided to put him on the first line with OV, seeing, hopefully that Kuznetsov will change production-wise.
Good luck.
But, if he doesn't change this week, if he doesn't pick up a good amount of points this week. I would say whoever owns him should, as hard as it is to say, may consider grabbing someone else. I don't know what you guys think about this. I kind of want to hear your perspective.
It's not time to panic yet, but we're getting pretty close.
Yeah.
I think we're about a week and a half away from the panic button.
Yeah, I mean, Bo owns him in 2 leagues.
My finger's been hovering above it for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I'm about to press it soon, so we'll see how this next week
goes. You want to know how long I hold on to people? I held on to Bodker until this week. So if I'm saying that, you may want to drop him.
You're a brave man.
I am a brave man, and it didn't hurt me for a while, so that's okay. But Eddie, I want to hear what's going on with this next guy. So you can tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I've always been high on this guy, but I mean, you can see the struggles in just the team in general. But Johnny T is a superstar on his own. But when you don't have anyone to help you and you have just crap for line mates, you're not going to be able to produce. And the Islanders have lost 4 in a row. Tavares has been suffering as a result of that. They've been outscored 5-14 in that span in the last 4 games. It's ridiculous. This week, Johnny T only has 1 assist. He's -2, has 6 shots on net. There's not much I can say other than I'm really sad because I own him in a league. Sometimes he just tries to do it all himself, and people that play around him usually benefit. But as a whole, the Islanders have just made some terrible decisions from the head offices. The coaches have been struggling, and the players have been struggling as a result. So,
and the food vendors. Oh man.
I mean, it's not like Nashville where they have food poisoning all the time. Their food situation's a little worse. But yeah, you can't get much worse than the Islanders right now. They're actually last in their division after making playoffs last year. So I don't even know if they'll make the push this year.
It's not looking good.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah.
They're going to need to make a change if JT is going to be a consistent option this year. And if the Islanders want to, start winning some games, they're going to need to change something. So we'll hope for the best. But, we'll see.
Well, yeah, who knows? Let's kind of go through these next couple of names a little quicker so we can get right into the waivers.
Yeah, we got 3 defensemen.
Yeah, we're going to run through these 3 defensemen. I'm just going to give them all to you right off the bat. These vendors that I'm going to mention are Brett Burns, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and Shane Gostisbehere. They're all pretty, they're big-name defensemen. You probably drafted them pretty high. And this week was just not their week. Honestly, I don't think they're anything to panic about. They're all, going to be producing throughout the season. The only one that I was a little worried about, but I'm not that worried in terms of season-long value, was Shane Gostisbehere because he was a healthy scratch for 1 week. Or not for 1 week, for 1 game. And I think it was just to, send a little wake-up call to the Philadelphia Flyers. And, since then, the defense has been playing better. But Brett Burns will keep on firing the puck. He'll get you all the shots. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, he's the best defender and probably the best player on the Arizona Coyotes, so they'll be fine. So those are the defensemen. What goalies are we looking at that have been bending?
If you want to do real quick, we just got Martin Jones, and then we have a tandem of Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury, and then Yaroslav Halak. So these 3 did not perform very well this week. I know very specifically Jones did not because he is my goalie. So He did not post a save percentage over 900 this week. He got 3 goals scored on him in each loss. And I don't want to blame him because the Sharks as a whole played pretty poorly. But the last 3 games, they just really ruined their road trip. They started 3-0, ended 3-2-1. Let's see, talking about Murray and Fleury. Murray only had 1 win this week with a .899 save percentage, and Fleury had no wins with a .897 save percentage, and both had around a 3 goals against average. It's not been a very positive week for the Pens after a 7-1 loss to the Washington Capitals. Our last goalie, Yaroslav Halak, no wins this week with only 2 out of his 4 games above 900 save percentage. I mean, we talked about the New York Islanders. They have been struggling. 3.08 goals against average at a .905 save percentage. Not the greatest for Mr. Halak.
Yeah, only 3 wins on the season. That's pretty crappy. So,
yeah.
It's sad to see the Islanders doing so bad, especially because I really like them and I like Johnny T. But
I like his name.
He lacks skill and discipline.
He lacks skill and discipline. Oh man, that bow. All right, well, that's our Beauts and Benders of the week. So, what do you say we move on to the Wire, boys? Let's go to the waiver wire. Some waiver wire pickups you may need to take a look at.
Who's on the wire today?
Let's take a gander. So I'll start out. I'm going to start with Patrick Eves. Now, this week, he actually got moved down the line. He was on the top line with Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. But he's been moved down recently, and this is something that I think you need to take note of, but not worry too much. He's been playing very well, and he'll be playing with some other skilled players in Jason Spezza and Patrick Sharp. He has been crazy. He's been 31% added in the past day, and so he went from a 7% owned to a 38% owned. So he's been, everyone's been kind of noticing him. He's had 5 goals in the past 4 games. He's taken over 3 shots in a game. So if you need a guy who, gets you the shots on goal, gets you some points, I think he's a good add while he's hot. So just pay attention to where he stands after this week on the second line, because obviously if you're playing with Ben and Seguin, you're going to be just seeing goals up to your eyeballs. So that's one guy I think you should keep an eye on. Another guy I want to mention is Carl Hagelin. He's 14% owned right now. And we mentioned above, Hornquist is out with a concussion. And now Carl Hagelin is going to get the chance to work with Crosby on the top line with Connor Sheary as well.
What a blessing.
Such a blessing. And, what a
blessing.
They really will, I think, benefit from having the speed of Carl Hagelin. He is a really fast guy. Comparing Hagelin to Sheary, and who, maybe both of them are usually pretty unowned in a league that you might be in. So which one should you pick up? I still say Hagelin. He'll get you more peripheral stats as he's accumulated 12 shots on goal and will get 4 and will get hits as well. He's gotten 4 in the past couple games. Sheary has only posted 7 shots on goal and gets no hits. So all in all, Hagelin hasn't even been on the top line and he's already been producing all those stats. So I think he'll just benefit even more being on a line with the great Sidney Crosby. So that's one other guy I think you should definitely keep an eye on. My last guy is going to be Leo Komarov. He's 14% owned, and he's been playing well lately. He's gone on a hot streak with 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 shots on net, 13 hits in the past 3 games. He's never been really known as the guy who gets all the points. They kind of leave that to the talented rookies on that team. But he's been more of a banger, as you saw earlier, or as I mentioned earlier, he got 13 hits, so he can get you those peripheral stats, which is really nice. Recently, he's been playing on the second line with Nylander and Kadri, which has actually been the second most productive line in the NHL the past 3 games, so that's really awesome for him, yeah. They got some tough matchups ahead, but I think in the tougher matchups, they actually rely on him more because, he's such a hitter and he grinds in the corners and he's got actually a very wicked shot. So keep an eye on Komarov. He's someone that I would definitely keep an eye on, especially if you need those extra stats in the end to win your week. So,
awesome.
Cam, I'll let you take the reins from here.
Cool. Well, thank you very much.
Yep.
And I just have 2 guys on my forwards for waivers today. And the first one will be Tanner Pearson. Mm-hmm. And Pearson last week had 1 goal, 1 assist, was +3, and had 11 hits. So far in the season, Pearson has 7 goals, 4 assists, a +7, 36 shots, and 30 hits.
Wow.
Remember, Pearson started the season late because he came in with an injury. So he's catching up very quickly. He's playing on the top line with Toffoli and Carter, as well as the top power play unit with both of those guys.
That 70s line.
Yep.
I know, right?
I like that one.
Surprisingly, he's only 15% owned, and I think that's probably because of the injury he sustained early on in the season. But that still surprises me.
Yeah.
The only bad thing about this possible pickup are his next 3 matchups. He has New York, the Islanders, which is the best of the 3, and then he faces Chicago and then San Jose. They are at home, but as we know, the Kings have had some goalie issues, so those, especially Chicago, and if San Jose picks it up, San Jose could be some detrimental matchups. But I still wanted to mention Tanner. My next guy is a little more of an unknown, but he's coming into to his own right this year, Sebastian Aho. His last 5 games with Carolina, he has 2 goals, 3 assists, +2 and 14 shots. The Canes right now are on a 4-game winning streak, a lot of which is thanks to Cam Ward, but they have been playing pretty well with this line. He plays with Skinner and Stahl, and they seem to be on a roll. Their next matchup, it's a tough road trip, but they have Toronto, Montreal, and then Ottawa. The only, actually, before I say that, he is a left wing and a right wing. So right off the bat, you know why I like him. He's very flexible. However, they took him off the power play, so he's not getting any power play time anymore. That's one thing you need to consider. But he is on the top line. The last 5 games, obviously, 5 points +2. He's 20% owned right now. Not owned in our league, I know that. So if you guys need another left or right winger that can get you some points and some shots, I say, why not pick him up?
Why not? Agreed.
Or bear me teeth.
All right. Bo, you want to take over?
Yeah, so I'll throw out my. I got a couple of forwards that I want to mention. I'm going to kind of bundle these first 2 together because they actually play on the same line. But Robbie Fabry and David Perron, they currently are the first, or they don't play on the same line exactly, but they play on the same team. They play for the St. Louis Blues. Robbie Fabry's on the second line with Laterra and Tarasenko. Perron's on the first line with Stastny and Schwartz, but they both play on the first power play unit together. So I'm going to kind of mention, I want to mention Fabry first because there's an interesting fact that he was actually a healthy scratch for a game against Nashville. And that was kind of like his wake-up call, kind of let him see the game from the booth and, take a night off. And since then, he's just lit it up. He's on a 4-game point streak since he's been a healthy scratch with 3 goals, 2 assists, 9 penalty minutes, 4 power play points, and a couple of shots and hits as well. And he's mainly doing all of his damage on the power play. Actually, 4 of his 5 points are on the power play. So if you're looking for someone to get you, that power play boost, get you those PBPs, then Robbie Fabry is your guy. Ooh. But otherwise, David Perron, he kind of does a little bit of everything. He's also been doing a lot of damage on the power play since Fabry's been out there with him. So he actually has 4 of his 6 points on the power play. But otherwise, in the last 4 games, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 penalty minutes. Him and Fabry honestly have very similar statistics. But it just depends on what type of positioning you're looking for. Mm-hmm. The next guy I want to mention, playing for the Ducks, Jakob Silfverberg. He's currently on a line with Kessler and Cogliano, and they've been doing decent as of now. They're currently on a 3-game point streak. He's riding a goal, 3 assists, and a +3 with 1 power play point, 6 shots, and 6 hits. So he's pretty even across the board. To kind of get you a little bit of everything. I honestly don't see him as much of a long-term ad, but since he's on a bit of a point streak, I would recommend him for a short-term pickup. Mm-hmm. And I know he's flexible with both left wing and right wing. So, if you're like Cam, you can't go wrong with a flexible player.
Nice. All right.
So I think you have a couple of players that might not be guys you want to pick up right away, Eddie, but players to watch.
Yeah, so I have a couple players to watch right here. One of them, actually, I want to mention as a guy that I said to start last week, and it's Vladislav Nemestikov, the name.
So we ain't watching him, we're playing him.
The man of many names. Yeah, you should play this guy. You should pick this guy up. He's 14% owned. He's been plus 10% the past day, but with Stamkos out of the lineup, there's not much else to say. He will be on a line with Kucherov, and he's been playing really well. And a guy who's hot on that top line, he's someone you're going to want to just pick up and play at this point.
Say my name, say my name.
Now, moving on to the players I want you guys to keep an eye on. The first one I want to mention is Sam Bennett. He's only plays center, but with Gaudreau out, he's definitely going to be leaned on the top line. He was the 4th overall pick in the 2014 draft. and they're going to get him to try to get jump-started for the Flames. So he had a good first game, showcased on the top unit, and was productive as he had a goal and assist, even though they lost to the Blackhawks. So hopefully we can see some more production coming from his line and from him as in general. Another Bennett I want you guys to look out for is Bo Bennett.
Who's the best Bennett?
Oh, yeah. Not this Bo, but...
Spelled incorrectly, Bo.
Yeah.
He's a shame.
He's the French Bo. But he will be placed on the top line with Zajac and Parenteau with the loss of Taylor Hall. You can probably see a trend of these guys that I'm picking. A lot of them are taking the spots of the stars that got taken out due to injury. But this 24-year-old is pretty good. He's a pretty good player. I looked on his Elite Hockey Prospects page, and they said he's very skilled. He's got good hands. He's got a good shot. But this is the first time he'll be taking the first line spot in his young career. So keep an eye on him too. Hopefully he can start showing us what he's got. But another guy on the Flames, which I should have mentioned was Sam Bennett, but I wanted to do Bennett and Bennett together. But Matthew Tkachuk. Tkachuk. How much Tkachuk can a woodchuck chuck if Tkachuk could chuck wood? Wow, I said that pretty well.
That was surprising, yeah.
This guy is only 18 years old, and he is playing on the Flames. He's got strong possession numbers and a crazy, crazy snipe that he had versus Arizona on the 16th. You guys should definitely watch that.
Yeah, he sniped it from like the goal line.
It was ridiculous. It was
an amazing shot. Yeah,
He's got some major snipes and major skills. So keep him on your watch list.
Found daylight and darkness.
Yeah, he really did. It was amazing. But since the Flames have been struggling, they're gonna, I think they're gonna be a little looser. They're not expecting too much, I don't think, at this point. All of their team has been struggling. They just want something to happen. Yeah, so a lot of their depth players, I think, will start stepping up. And this is a guy that I think you're going to be seeing a lot of on the highlight reels.
The rookies are going to get a lot of chances now since they're struggling.
Yeah, and another rookie I wanted to mention is Anthony DeAngelo. He's been called up to play in Arizona. He's a 21-year-old defenseman and has been making a huge statement in his first 6 games in the big time. He has 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points, and a 22.2 shooting percentage. That is crazy. He's been taking crazy amounts of shots. He's seen 63.6% of all power play time with 2 minutes and 55 seconds, which is only second to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And as a result, 3 of his 4 points have been on the power play. The Coyotes obviously trust him. They're playing him 19 minutes a night on average, so you got to keep an eye on this guy. With all rookies, I kind of just tell you everyone to be wary, but if you need one in the short term, maybe pick him up while he's hot, but definitely keep an eye on that guy. One other guy I want to mention is Jesse Puljujarvi. He's the 18-year-old rookie who's getting a chance to play alongside Connor McDavid this week and Milan Lucic. According to EliteProspects.com, he's a huge winger who's 6'3", 203 pounds, combines size, skating, and skill. He's a smart player on both ends of the ice, and he's been known to be a scorer, and they need to see more production from the Oilers. And last but not least, we have Thomas Vanek, who's back from injury, so just keep an eye on him because he was hot when he left. Hopefully you can keep that up.
All right, so those are some players to watch. We're going to go right back into our waivers with a couple defensemen and then move right on to goalies. So let's go quick with the defenseman. I'm going to give you guys my defenseman, and he's one that was actually having a little bit of trouble with some contract negotiation. Finally got it figured out, and now he's back. But he's kind of been struggling with conditioning a little bit to finally get rolling. But that's Hampus Lindholm. Like I said, he's played 6 games since agreeing to a contract with the Ducks. The conditioning wasn't there right away, and you could totally see that with the amount of ice time he was getting. But it's definitely ramped up. He started off with playing only 18 minutes per game, and now he's playing a full 23 minutes per game. So he's playing that first line, second line minutes you expect from him. He finally put up his first points of the season by getting 2 assists against the LA Kings and 1 power play point as well. So he's definitely a player to look at. He's with defensemen being so thin nowadays in terms of the waiver wire. it's not a bad idea to take a shot on Lindholm because he's shown that he can produce those type of numbers and be a fantasy relevant player. So definitely worth the pickup in my book.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I just want to do another quick mention. With thin waiver wire for defensemen, you got to keep an eye on Nesterov. I say he's worth a pickup. With Strawman out, he's going to be playing with Victor Hedman, and he's going to be playing on the top D unit and the top power play unit. He's achieved double-digit points in his past 2 seasons, and this is a huge opportunity to do it again, to get some more points. He's definitely a strong ad this week, and especially with the Tampa team that's been really, really hot. So I say pick him up. He's my waiver wire defenseman of the week.
Yeah, he's going to have a lot of increased ice time. So Nesterov is definitely someone to consider, especially if you need a fifth defenseman. He would be an amazing fifth defenseman pickup. So that's great. Okay, yeah. Do you guys want to head on to goalies? I think we have a couple good ones this month or this week to look at. So
I think people want to stop.
Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'm going to say mine just so people can stop hearing me talk so much. But I'm going to say Anders Nilsson. You might think, why a Buffalo goaltender? Buffalo stinks. Well, maybe you didn't know, but Nilsson has actually faced 40 shots in 3 of his last 5 starts, facing 47 shots in the last game versus the Pittsburgh Penguins and posting a .979 save percentage. I think this guy is really good when he gets peppered with shots, not salted, but peppered. And if you need a boost for your goalie stats, if you need some more shots to boost the save percentage, you're going to want to pick up a Buffalo goaltender. They're always getting shots on net. They're not very good defensively. So I think he's a great pickup. He plays every 4 to 5 games when Robin Lehner is out. So, he's definitely one of my keep an eye ons, maybe add if you need some help on the goalies end for your third goalie.
Yeah, that's definitely something to consider is on a team that's going to be allowing a lot of shots, that's going to boost your save percentage more than likely. So,
apart from Jones, if you play Jones, he only gets 16 shots on net but gets 3 goals scored on him.
So they could be a good pair together once Jones starts winning.
Yeah, exactly.
So Cam, you want to tell us your goalie?
Well, I have a goalie that's actually going to be a little bit of a possible trap, if I do say so myself. So why don't I let you do yours, and then I will do a transition between my goalie / a possible trap.
Okay, so he's not fully in the trap, but he could be there.
He's got a toe in the trap.
He has 1 foot in the crease and 1 foot in the zone where he shouldn't be handling the puck. So we're just gonna, which is impossible. He stretches very far. I'll mention him in a moment.
All right. Well, I'll give you my couple of goalies real quick. The first one I want to mention is, as you guys already know, Cameron is in goal right now for the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah.
But Cam Ward, he's been playing really well, surprisingly. He's won his last 4 games and has only allowed 4 goals in those 4 games.
Woo.
So he has 1 shutout in that game with a 1 goal against average, a .952 save percentage, and like we mentioned before, he's the second goalie of the week. So unfortunately for Cam, I know he's playing out of his mind right now, but this is not realistic over the long term. I definitely see him as more of a short-term ad as, the Carolina Hurricanes are playing hot. I think he'll definitely, this next week, he'll be able to get you a decent amount of wins and with some good save percentage. But in terms of a season-long outlook on him, I just don't see it happening the whole time. So with Cam as the first goalie I would consider picking up, and the next one I want to mention is Mike Smith. So he just returned from injury for the Arizona Coyotes. He's only played 2 games, but he's been pretty successful in those 2 games. He's got 1 win, 1.97 goal against average, .942 save percentage. And more than anything, he is a starting goaltender. And on the waiver wire nowadays, it's kind of tougher to find a starting goaltender. So I think you can pick him up as more of a long-term ad. He's not going to be the best goalie you can get. But for the waiver wire, I think, he's a good look. And finally, the last one I want to get into, we've said his name a million times. We've already mentioned him before. Andrei Vasilevsky, 2 shutouts this week or in his past 2 starts, so not more that needs to be said than that. pick him up if he's still on your wire, because if you don't, someone else will. All right, guys.
I agree with that.
Where are we looking at right now?
It's a trap! It's a trap! It's a trap!
Well, I just really quickly want to talk. I have two specific potential traps that I want to talk about, and I have a couple more that I could mention. Let me just really quickly go into my goalie that I was going to mention earlier. It's Chad Johnson. So overall in the season, Chatterson has a .911 save percentage and a 2.31 goals against average. Not the greatest for a goaltender in the NHL, but the past 2 weeks, Chaddington has posted a .937 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against average against Minnesota, Arizona, Chicago, and Detroit. Not an easy feat. His upcoming games include away at Buffalo, Colorado, Boston, and Philadelphia. So he's definitely, Chathame is definitely going to get some playing time during this long road trip. But the reason I didn't want to put him, Chathame, the reason I didn't want to put him as a waiver at the moment is I'm not 100% sold on Chad's pads, but his play is increasing in both quality and quantity. As a third goaltender, may not be a bad decision. Personally, I am going to wait until the end of this week to confirm. Our next podcast, I will definitely be revisiting the Johnson man over here.
Would you want
my other guy?
Would you want Johnson or Elliott?
Right now, neither.
Yeah.
But Chad Johnson has a step over Elliott right now for me. But I want to wait one more week and see if he can actually earn more starts. So. We'll see. He's been playing well the past 2 weeks, so we'll see if that continues.
I agree.
My other big trap for me was Sam Gagne. Now, Yosemite Sam has been on a roll recently, scoring 1 goal, 2 assists, +2, and taking 7 shots last week. In his last 5 games, he has 4 goals, 2 assists, +4, and 14 shots. All of this is while part of the fourth line with Sedlak and Hartnell, which is pretty cool. He does center the top power play unit, and as everyone knows, well, hopefully everyone knows, Columbus has the #1 power play, but a lot of that is padded by their 10-0 game against Montreal and a couple other blowouts they've had. So for me, the reason he is on the trap is that their power play has been 1 for 16 in their past 6 games. And his time on ice average has dropped from 18 minutes to 15 minutes, and now it's down to just above 14 minutes per game. So for me, Sam Gagne is kind of is falling out of favor with the coaches at this point. So he's on the trap for me. But a couple others that I'm just going to mention really quick. We got Jeff Petrie here. He has not broken the 20-point mark in the past 3 seasons. He's more kind of a shutdown blue liner on the same line as Vlasic or Braun. So as far as fantasy goes, I'm not too keen on Jeff Petrie. His possession games have been kind of low. He does shots and hits, but besides that, you're not going to really be getting any other fantasy stat boosters from Mr. Petrie here.
Yeah.
Andrew Shaw, another guy, recently he has 4 points, 16 penalty minutes, 13 shots, and 21 hits in the past 5 games. That's great, right? Except 3 of those 4 points came in 1 game. And so did 14 of those penalty minutes. So, to me, Andrew Shaw's not going to be holding that up. The boost of his shooting percentage, which went up from 7.4 to 11.1%, is just not sustainable. 2 of his goals, or 2 of his points, were just random deflections. So, for me, Andrew Shaw is definitely a trap player.
Yeah, the Shaw.
I don't know, Bo, if you had anyone else, but that's what I got.
Yeah, I could kind of give them real quick. So one of the traps that I was looking at was Josh Mann's son. So he's also a man and a son.
Oh.
But he's currently playing with Hampus Lindholm for the Anaheim Ducks. He has 5 assists. He has 38 penalty minutes, 20 shots, 48 hits, and that kind of highlights the most of it. But honestly, I do not trust him. He's only played 1 full season, and that full season he only had 15 points. So he already has a third of it now, but realistically, I do not see him getting much more than that. I mean, the only reason you would want him is for his penalty minutes, where he got 74 penalty minutes last year, and his hits, where he got 154 hits last year. So I mean, he'll get you those, but he's not on the top, or he's not on any power play units, and he has never had a power play point in his career. So I just see no point in adding someone that is not going to get you all the stats. And
yeah, absolutely.
So my final trap, I mentioned him before in my waivers, but Cam Ward, I see him as a great short-term pickup while they're hot, but long-term, that just doesn't look as good for him. In the past 4 seasons, he has 64 wins in 145 games. So he hasn't even won more than half of his starts in the past 4 seasons. So that just, that's just not looking good for a long-term fantasy outlook.
Yeah.
So I just would not recommend, holding him for the long haul. So
got some goalies in the trap. Goalies in the trap.
Well, with that, it wraps up our trap waiver. It wraps up our podcast. And I think we're going to, just end it right there.
Sorry, it was a long one, but we had a lot of stuff to get through today.
A lot of injuries.
A lot of good info.
A lot of good stuff, yeah. So hopefully that helps everyone this week. It's going to be a nice week 7. I can't believe we're already in week 7. That's crazy. Anyway.
Hook buddies out.
Yep.